The Golden Knights continue their road trip, and Little Chris is going to give us his 3 reasons why the Vegas Golden Knights will repeat as Stanley Cup champions. Don't go away. This is Locked On Vegas Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chris. It's the Chris and Chris show. Cheers, buddy. Let's start. Cheers. Cheers to Chris. Cheers to everybody. There you go. He loves having his morning apple juice, not coffee. All right, there we go. We need that. It's the weekend. We're waking up. Folks, welcome to Locked On Vegas Golden Knights. This is our Saturday special YouTube exclusive Chris and Chris show. Our second show, Chris, they didn't cancel us yet. Can you believe it? We're still going.
I want media at the Silver Night game.
What's that?
I want media at the Silver Night game.
You want media at the Silver Knights game? We'll work on that, buddy. You need about 8 more years on you. We'll get you to that point. All right, so here we go. The Golden Knights, Chris, started their road trip Tuesday against the Washington Capitals. It wasn't a bad game by the Golden Knights. They just couldn't put the puck in the net. You have any observations you want to share about Tuesday's game against Washington?
Surprisingly, we got more breakaways on Tuesday's game. And in the game on Thursday.
Yeah, no, there were definitely more breakaways in Tuesday's game, and this is where it was about the same time last year, Chris. I remember asking Chandler Stevenson last year about this time, the Golden Knights just were having a rough patch, and I said, hey, is the team starting to feel snake bitten right now? And all of a sudden you started hearing that among the locker room for a week or two. Tony loves pointing that out. And then we heard that actually a little bit after Tuesday's game in the postgame press conferences by the players and stuff. So there was some concern that maybe this season was heading down the same path. And then after watching the first period, little man, of Thursday's game against the Montreal Canadiens, it seemed like the same thing could be happening, but they played so well in that first period. William Karlsson had a lot of chances. They just couldn't find a way to get the puck in the net. What did you watched the game on Thursday, obviously, with me. Were you concerned after the first period when the Golden Knights were trailing the Canadiens that it was going to be another game where the Golden Knights were going to have a hard time scoring?
Well, one, I didn't see the first period. I only heard it was 2-0.
Okay, fine, whatever. You didn't see the first period. Okay. This is where you ad-lib, bro. This is where you ad-lib. You just make it up as you go, but that's okay.
I thought after that we were still gonna win because they're kind of please don't throw me out for that.
Please don't. I'm not going to throw you out. That's an okay statement. So what you're saying is the Canadiens aren't a bad team, but they're not as good as a defensive team as some other teams in the NHL. That's what you're saying, buddy.
True.
So, but the Canadiens, Chris, so here's the weird thing about the Canadiens. They're a really good team when they get involved in what's considered a track meets. A track meet is a terminology in hockey where it means it's going to be a high-scoring game when they trade chance for chance. So the Golden Knights had a good first period. It wasn't even a track meet in the first period, right? They had, I think it was 15 or 16 shots on goal, whatever the number was, and they just couldn't find a way to score, unfortunately. So the second period was the track meet where the teams traded chances, and the Golden Knights outscored the Canadiens. I believe it was 4-2. So a 6-goal second period. But what impressed me personally about the game on Thursday was that the Golden Knights were able to slow the game down a little bit in the third period and kind of impose their will in the game. The Golden Knights are good at trading chances, but when the Golden Knights slowed the game down, I think that's why they won the game on Thursday. Why do you think they won the game on Thursday night?
Because they slowed it down. I thought the timeout they called was a pretty good timeout because they pulled their goalie. Not just that power play or not, but they pulled their goalie. So we got an empty netter. I think we were really good with doing that.
Yeah, well, just to clarify, buddy, there wasn't an empty netter. It was the Jack Eichel scored the power play goal. Eichel scored the power play goal, and then Mark Stone scored another goal. Remember, Dorofeev got his teeth knocked out. His teeth kind of look like mine up here, where there's some missing. But anyway, it looked like yours right now, how they're kind of coming in. No, he got his teeth knocked out. Unfortunately, took a high stick, part of the game. Really fast. Let's kind of shift gears before you talk about the Flyers game. So you and I got to check out the Silver Knights game last night, right? Fun game, exciting game. You remember with Jake Bischoff? I kept pointing out how he looked. Folks, Jake Bischoff, defenseman, captain for the Henderson Silver Knights. This dude is an absolute warrior. He took an elbow or a high stick to his nose. He was leaking, right? Doesn't stop him. At the end of the first period, gets into a fight. I don't know how this one happened, but he had a cut below his eye right here where I'm pointing. The whole game, he just has like the trail of blood coming down. He's out there blocking shots, working his butt off. Silver Knights lost the game, unfortunately, in overtime. But Chris, anything quickly you want to talk about last night's Silver Knight game as we're kind of working on
He should have been star one.
Bischoff?
Yes.
I mean, listen, when a team loses a game, usually you're not going to see as many players getting the stars. I know Brendan Brisson, 2 goals. He was the game's 3rd star. We didn't stick around to see who the game's 1st and 2nd stars were. I can assume they were both going to be from Abbotsford. I mean, the Canucks won, the Canucks won the game. They played well. And Denisenko, the guy I've been talking up, the silver misfit, 2 assists in the game as well. So it's really nice, Chris. I mean, how many Silver Knights games have you and I been to over the last 2 or 3 years now? The team hasn't been really competitive. They haven't been winning a lot of games, but this looks like a different team, doesn't it, buddy?
Yeah. Because you have the Stanley Cup champion, assistant coach. There's no way we should be losing. There should be losing games.
That's an excellent perspective that Chris just offered. So Ryan Craig was the former Golden Knights, one of the assistant coaches. He's been there since day one. And then Ryan Craig got a promotion to coach the Silver Knights. So Ryan Craig knows as well as anyone what it takes to become a champion now. AHL, NHL, it doesn't matter. It's an amazing hill to climb to win either of the tournaments to become, in this case for the AHL, the Calder Cup champion. So that would be an absolute amazing thing if Craig can, Craiger, what they call him, if Craig can find a way to at least lead the Silver Knights on a long playoff run, because that's something that we haven't been able to experience yet. I mean, the first, well, yes and no, Chris. So the first Silver Knights season, that was COVID, fans coming back and everything. They did like a weird playoff in the Pacific Division to crown a champion that they ultimately lost. Was it the Condors? I think
Condors.
It was the Condors. Okay.
We lost in T-Mobile. We were at the game.
Yep. No, we were there. I do remember that. It was a fun game. It was the deciding game, if you will. And then I think the season after that, the team made the playoffs, but the AHL, for the teams that are the lower seeds, they're not guaranteed a playoff game in that first, or a home game in that first series. So it would be nice if the Silver Knights can get to the point where fans can experience some AHL playoff hockey. All right, buddy, let's shift gears right now. Let's go ahead. The Golden Knights actually, a couple hours after this comes out, will be having a game this morning, buddy. We got morning hockey. I thought you were going to sleep in and miss the podcast today, little man. What's up?
You will not start the podcast without me. And if you did, I will not be happy.
All right, guys. Shots fired. Shots fired. All right, Chris. So the Golden Knights take on the Philadelphia Flyers, 10 a.m. local time. Nice early brunch Yeah, we'll call it a brunch game. We'll call it a night matinee. We'll call it a brunch game against the Flyers. Golden Knights and Flyers did have a game previously this season in T-Mobile Arena. Golden Knights scored a goal late. I think it was about 30 seconds left to get the victory and escape with 2 points against a team, kind of a rejuvenated Philadelphia Flyers team. What do you think is going to happen in today's game, little buddy?
A 1. I don't care what I predicted. I changed my mind to a shutout for us.
The Golden Knights are going to get shut out. They're going to lose by a shutout?
No, they're going to win by a shutout.
They're going to win by a shutout. Okay. Logan Thompson will be in net. There could possibly, see, this is the unfortunate thing. The Golden Knights did not hold any type of skate on Friday. Obviously, being an early game, there's not going to be a pregame skate. So unless they do any type of media availability, we're not going to know until really the team walks out from the dressing room who's in or who's out, starting with Pavel Dorofeev. He lost some teeth. My assumption is Pavel Dorofeev will be able to play today if he's needed. He'll probably be wearing a full bubble, full facial protection. The second question, and this would be a welcome return, Chandler Stevenson. Chandler Stevenson has logged at least one practice wearing a traditional uniform, which is kind of what Coach Cassidy uses as a measuring stick before inserting a player back into the lineup for a game. So Chandler Stevenson might return, but Coach Cassidy also did mention prior to Thursday's game, it's so funny watching him drink from the mug there. He did mention, no, it's good. I'm enjoying it, buddy. Just keep doing your thing, little man. Keep doing your thing. Coach Cassidy did mention that Stevenson may not be as far along and that he and the team would have to talk to him and make a decision. So if Stevenson returns, I would assume that Dorofeev will also be able to play this game, which would I would say if Stevenson returns, Dorofeev would become a scratch. In the event Stevenson is not ready to play, and if Dorofeev cannot play, Jonas Rondbjerg might wind up drawn back into this game, and I would assume Will Carrier winds up moving up to the third line in place of Dorofeev. Chris, official prediction for today's game. Give me 2 players. What do you think is going to happen right now?
Well, one was my whole prediction.
I don't know. I know we all think. I think we all thought the Golden Knights would win today's game. I can try and look it up. So talk a little bit about. This is where I tell Tony to yap when I'm trying to find something here for a second. So yap away for a second, buddy.
I think I'm not Golden Knights. I'll care my old prediction. I think we're going to shut them out. I think we're getting the 2 points. I still pick 7 points in the road trip. And I'm going, if they can play, Dorofeev Stevenson.
Okay. So Chris thinks the injured guy and the new guy coming back are going to have an effect on today's game. So, Chris, your original prediction, I just found it, was 5-4 Golden Knights in overtime. My prediction is 4-1 Golden Knights. This is a tough game for the Flyers. It's their first game after a long road trip that started in California. It ended in Carolina. It's tough. First games back from road trips are always weird. The Golden Knights will have a game like this next week against the Arizona Coyotes. So I'm 4-1 Golden Knights. William Karlsson's going to score a goal. He might score 6 goals. He might score 6 goals this afternoon. So William Karlsson, number 1. And let's go Paul Cotter. He's been a little quiet. He obviously got ran from the game Tuesday for the head contact to Kuznetsov. So hopefully Cotter will be able to get back into today's game and get going. And also Barbashev. I'm going to give a little love for Barbashev. I've been down on Barbashev a lot this season, but Barbashev had that amazing clean hit on Arbajeka, the guy they call Wi-Fi for Montreal. Knocked him out of the game, injured him a little bit. It's the unfortunate part of hockey, but that's how it goes. And Barbashev, just maybe that is what's going to ignite him to kind of get going a little bit. So that's what we got. All right, so our final segment is all about little Christopher. I gave him the task last night. I didn't want him to show it to me. So for the record, he woke up this morning, didn't even come downstairs, went right to his little office, which is where he is right now, and started working on his task. Chris is going to give us one at a time his 3 reasons why the Vegas Golden Knights will win the Stanley Cup again. Chris, what's your number 3 reason?
Why I did 3 reasons why the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup.
Oh, won the Stanley Cup. Okay. All right. There we go. Why did the Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup? It's just like a regular show, me and Tony making changes as we go. All right.
Okay. So I'll go with 3-1. Okay. 3.
Just go one at a time. Start with 3.
3. Getting a new coach.
Getting a new coach. Wow, dude. This is why Chris brings it here, okay? Listen, Chris is 9 years old, but he's not your average hockey fan right there. So far on this show, he's talked about coaching twice. Talked about the value that Ryan Craig has brought to the Silver Knights. And then now he's talking about, and he goes with the coffee like a boss right there. It's apple juice. It's apple juice. And then now he comes in from the top rope about Bruce Cassidy. And so what is it you like about Bruce Cassidy, Chris? Can you give us a reason why you like Bruce Cassidy and what he's done well before you keep going?
Yeah, he doesn't get too excited when he wins, and they can get grumpy when he loses.
See, okay, this is, again, guys, I'm just blown away right now because this is stuff that I've talked to Chris about when we listen to the post game on the way home and stuff like that.
It hurts to win.
It hurts to win. Wow. And now he's marketing for the team. Man, this is good, dude. We're just going to tell people to skip the first 14 minutes of the podcast. Chris is dominating right now. So there we go. Chris, reason number 2, the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup.
Practice.
What do you got about practice? Give me something more.
Well, I didn't see the practices that time. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'll say, because you mentioned practice, which is also an extension of coaching. Coach Cassidy runs a very good and upbeat practice. He'll work on skill and stuff when things maybe aren't going well for the team. Like after the road trip, when the team finished, I believe it was the LA Anaheim trip. Maybe I could have my wires crossed a little bit here. But point being is the team, after their travel day, they still had some time off, but they got right back to work. Once they were able to. They had a skill practice. Jonathan Marchessault was a big fan of the practice that they had. But then when things are going well, coach keeps it a little bit light on the players. When I say light, I don't mean they don't work hard, but he has a real good read on the vibe of the team and what's going well. They start with like a fun 5-on-5 or 6-on-6 drill. The practice is filled with nothing but chirping. I even watched Jonathan Marchessault playfully yell at Bruce Cassidy for interrupting a breakaway he had once. So the practices are a lot of fun. All right, Chris, the number 1 most important reason the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup last year.
Tell me, this was so easy. The Adin Hill save.
The Adin Hill save in the Stanley Cup final. That's what you got? That's it?
Roll the tape.
I wish I had it up here. Wow, this is good. So listen, Adin Hill, I mean, goaltending as a whole, going back to Marc-Andre Fleury's injury and Malcolm Subban coming in, and then Oscar Dance coming in, and then Dylan Ferguson coming in, and then Manny Lagasse coming in, and then Robin Lehner coming in, then a Marc-Andre Fleury here, then poor Marc-Andre Fleury getting a bloody sword through his back from Pete DeBoer by his agent and all that. You're too young for that, Chris. Don't worry about that one. And everything else that's happened. And then now we got Jonathan Quick last season, Laurent Brossoit. Yuri Patera gets a couple games last year. So, yes, Adin Hill's save was certainly the turning point, if you will, of that Stanley Cup final. But I think we got to give a shout out to all the goalies and everything that went into keeping the puck out of the Golden Knights net. Easy for me to say. All right, Chris, before we leave, buddy, let's give a little update. The Silver State Young Guns, we got back-to-back games Sunday and Monday. Really fast, what do you think is going to happen these next 2 games, buddy? I want some confidence here. Go.
Wolverines used to be undefeated. beat by team we play on Monday.
So Chris follows the
for
standings
them.
of this league and everything. Chris can tell you everything about it right now. What's going to happen, Chris? Are we going to win? Are the team that I coach that you plan, are we going to get a win Sunday and or Monday? You better say yes to at least one of these, buddy, or you're fired.
Wolverine, 4-2. Dusters, 5-0.
We're going to win both games?
Other way around.
We're going to lose both games?
We have a tough road trip.
We have a tough road trip. Listen to this kid.
It's
back to back. Tony would say the schedule's rigged. We don't even got to travel, dude. We don't even got to travel. He's getting mad. He's getting angry. All right, folks, that was the Chris and Chris show. We want to thank you again. This is just as special for me, hopefully, as it is for y'all to enjoy. Chris brings it every show. Very proud of how far he's come in his young podcasting career. Thank you to all the everydayers and the super everydayers. There's a new one, guys. The super everydayers that tune in 6 days a week to this YouTube exclusive Locked on Vegas Golden Knights. It was the Chris and Chris show. Make sure to check us out Monday through Friday. That's me and Tony running the show. That's available anywhere you get your podcast plus audio and on YouTube. And then we got the Saturday Chris and Chris special, YouTube only. Thanks again to the everydayers and the super everydayers. Take care. Have a great week. Thank you, everybody.